South Africa's Minister of Finance says the economy to gain momentum due to improvement in power cuts. Indian rupee gets a boost through export trade with Russia in local currencies. China and India transform health through artificial intelligence. And in your sports, Saudi Arabia's Green Falcons are out of the 2024 WAF Women's Championship after losing to Lebanon. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're watching BRICS Global Television Network. I am Ingam Zileni. South Africa's Finance Minister, Enoch Godongwana, has delivered his latest midterm budget speech. A mixed bag of projections with some good news and some bad news. Godongwana has pinned the GDP growth rate for 2024 to 2026 at 1.6%. This is mostly supported by the easing of power cuts as new energy projects begin production, and household consumption and credit extensions supported by lower inflation. However, load shedding constraints in freight, rail and ports and a high sovereign credit risk continue to impact the domestic outlook. The minister estimates the budget deficit for 2023-2024 will likely worsen from 4% a year ago to 4.9% of GDP. And the national government gross borrowing requirement will decline by around 30 billion rand between 2024, 2025 to 2026 and 2027, taking the amount of 428.5 billion rand thanks to the decision to introduce a reform of the Golden Foreign Exchange Contingency Reserve account.
There are also risks to the domestic outlook. These include persistent constraints in electricity supply, freight, rail and ports, and higher sovereign credit risks. Our challenge, honourable members, is that the size of the pie is not growing fast enough to meet our developmental needs. As such, our fiscal strategy to support economic growth reduce risks to the economy while ensuring fiscal sustainability. Compared to a year ago, the budget deficit for 2023-24 is estimated to worsen from 4% to 4.9% of GDP.
And the African Union Summit in Addis Ababa has concluded. The event focused on several issues, including political instability, peace and security, climate change, and economic challenges of the African continent. Delegates also discussed ways African governments can better prepare themselves for any future pandemics. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa reflected on the challenges the continent faced during COVID-19 and called on his counterparts to ramp up efforts in preparation for another pandemic. Kakangcofe reports.
The 37th African Union Summit officially concluded at the AU headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, under the theme Educate an African Fit for the 21st Century, Building Resilient Education Systems for Increased Access to Inclusive, Lifelong, Quality and Relevant Learning in Africa. The summit reflected on the highs and lows of the continent and how the future looks with regards to sustainable development, peace and security, education and governance, with the AU Commission chairperson saying,
"We are now strongly challenged by the urgency of clear positions on this set of issues at the heart of the emergence of our organization and our continent. The strengthening of our unity and the intensification of our struggles require a new start to a true renaissance of nationalism and Pan-Africanism."
In attendance were African heads of state, esteemed global partners, and representatives who witnessed the baton being passed to the 2024 newly elected AU chairperson, the President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania. The event was also honored by the President of Brazil, who gave an address of the future prospects of his country and the continent.
Rekindling Brazil's relationship with Africa involves reclaiming our historical connections and playing a significant role in shaping a new, more equitable, and supportive global order. Most importantly, it paves the way for us to unite in addressing the forthcoming challenges.
This two-day summit presented an opportunity for Africa's decision makers to solve African problems for Africa, hold bilateral ties and trilateral meetings, strengthen cooperation and multilateralism, and adopt declarations that are relevant to Africa.
Our land is rich. We are blessed with favorable weather. We should not be seeking for aid. Ethiopia firmly believes that regional and continental integration is essential to diversify our economies, ensure peaceful coexistence among us neighbors, and work together for our common growth.
The objective is to create one market. This is the objective, to create a single market, to liberalizing intra-Africa trade, to liberalizing intra-Africa investment.
An important take-home was for Africa to make deals that speak to the African continent. Kak Angofe, BGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced the general elections will take place on the 29th of May, 2024. The elections are expected to be the most pivotal since the end of the apartheid era 30 years ago, with many questioning whether the ruling party ANC will maintain its parliamentary majority. And there is the possibility that opposition parties' formation of coalition could unseat the ANC from its 30 years of leadership. And now it's time for a short break. We'll be right back with more.
Coming soon on BRICS Global Television.
I went into a tackle, and he was this very big guy. He was a world wrestling champion. And I went in thinking that I'd be able to use my force to knock him over. And his shoulder connected my head, and that's when I broke my neck. So I lay on the field. We lay for about an hour. The ambulance couldn't get onto the field.
Welcome back. You're watching BGTN. Right now, we'll look at your health stories. The integration of artificial intelligence into healthcare is gaining popularity in China and India, the top two most densely populated BRICS countries. Artificial intelligence has emerged as a powerful tool that could help countries with large populations, with limited resources and limited access to healthcare, improve their health systems. Yolanda Pondo reports.
Artificial intelligence plays a pivotal role in modern medicine, transforming healthcare delivery. A case study published in the journal Nature Medicine has revealed remarkable levels of accuracy in the diagnosis of various stages of cancer, with AI systems achieving an accuracy rate of up to 89%, which is significantly higher compared to human radiologists who achieved a 73% accuracy rate. China is ahead of its peers in the study of artificial intelligence in medicine. Beijing aims to enhance diagnostic accuracy, optimize treatment, outcomes, and improve access to healthcare services in rural China. A study published by Omdia Research has revealed that Chinese startups raised $1.4 billion in funding in 2020 alone. The United States and China combined contribute 90% of global investment in medical AI startups. India's approach to the integration of artificial intelligence medicine, however, is aimed at tackling challenges related to healthcare accessibility, affordability, and quality in areas where healthcare infrastructure is limited. Delhi is also focused on enhancing diagnostics capabilities, streamline healthcare delivery, and reduce healthcare costs through AI-driven solutions. It is projected that revenue generated by India's artificial intelligence in the healthcare sector will reach $1.6 billion by 2025, with a compound annual growth of 40.5% between 2020 and 2025. Yolanda Pondo, BRICS Global Television Network.
which is commemorate. Sorry, I felt distracted by the music.
Crime is a major problem in South Africa. It's been this way since the power. Hold on, stop, cut.
BGTN had a chant to Drake. Okay.
Fees must fall movement, which is, sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Auto cue. As we trace the origin of the South African music. No, I'm not happy with that. Wow, you actually just an enemy of progress. That's what you are. Well, sorry.
I am not doing another take.
There are hijackings, there's armed robberies as well. Stop. Again.
Sometimes you get worried about things that you're not supposed to. But if I was to do it again, I didn't script that one. From the north.
Latest police figures show that the murder rate is sky high. The rate at which women and children are... Oh, shit, sorry, I thought somebody was coming. But they're not.
When are we on TV?
No, can you? No, a real photographer.
Latest police figures show that the murder rate is sky high. The rate at which women... Hold on.
According to the health, according to... Oh,
Latest police figures show that the murder rate is still... Okay, hold on.
And now we take a look at your arts and culture. Marrakesh embarks on its role as the capital of culture of the Islamic world in 2024. The country has assumed the esteemed title of the capital of culture despite facing challenges of a devastating earthquake in September. The city, recognized in UNESCO's Intangible Heritage of Humanity, continues to captivate global visitors with its rich history and cultural allure.
The Moroccan Minister of Youth, Culture and Communication described Marrakesh as a beautiful city, which is genuinely worthy of bearing the designation of capital of culture of the Islamic world for 2024, in view of its abundant natural and historical richness and geographical uniqueness. The minister added that Marrakesh is a city of life, spirit, and harmony.
The city will be the scene of a series of events throughout the year. There will be cultural, heritage, artistic and intellectual events in partnership with the local civil society in Marrakesh. The success of this cultural year will involve all stakeholders like Marrakesh intellectuals and artists.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the Islamic World Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization noted that the designation serves as an opportunity to showcase the Marrakesh's historical civilization and rich culture, reflected in its Andalusian architecture and Islamic architecture, seen in mosques and palaces.
Wherever you go in Marrakesh, you only see beauty and perfection. It's a duty of ISEXO to designate Marrakesh as the capital of culture in the Islamic world. This designation is the result of this city's uniqueness in its cultural components.
The Kingdom of Morocco aims to establish Marrakesh as one of the world's best tourist destinations. The Red City, as it's known, has been able to recover quickly from the Al House earthquake and to remain a hugely popular tourist destination.
Marrakech is the first tourist destination in Morocco. It's one of the most ancient Moroccan cities. Marrakech is famous globally. The designation as a capital of culture in the Islamic world is an additional recognition of its international influence and leading civilization and cultural role.
The celebrations of Marrakesh, capital of culture and the Islamic world, will also be an opportunity to highlight the city's tourist attractions, its intangible heritage and its archaeological sites.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at your business stories. The topic of a BRICS currency takeover continues to be hotly debated. Different analysts with different views have weighed in on the subject. Meanwhile, BRICS leaders have adopted a much simpler approach than establishing a BRICS currency, encouraging trade in local currencies to bypass the blockades, trade embargoes, and sanctions that have left many countries isolated with no alternative to boost trade in their regions but BRICS. And earlier, I spoke to Benjamin Chefu, who is an analyst in finance from Bank Capital. Here is the interview. Benjamin, thank you so much for joining us. Do you think that it's possible for BRICS countries to end the US dollar dominance by simply trading in local currencies?
I think absolutely. It might be an issue of time, but looking at the summit that just happened last year, that came with a whole lot of goodie bags, if I may call it. There's about 6 new countries that are joining us, and I think strategically placed geographically makes it not only a geo-economical possibility, but also a very geopolitical substantiation. So it is possible. The introduction actually brought about 3.5 billion people in coverage. I mean, that also helped us to cover about 29% of the global GDP, which makes it very simple and quite interesting. So looking at what it's likely to happen, I'm so assured that when it comes to trade and certain policy imposition within the BRICS nations, it will really be sooner than we expect.
Mm-hmm. Right, because it was bring me to my second question. How long is it likely going to take the BRICS alliance to take over the US dollar?
Yeah, I think that's also very dependent on integrations of different institutions that currently exist. I think for one, in Africa, we have AFCFTA, which looks at the trade agreement between African countries and the inability of trading within the continent freely. And that also comes with cutting of tariffs and different type of policies that actually makes it easy for trade. But you look at new countries that have been introduced from the continent, like Egypt and Ethiopia, which is strategically positioned from either the harbor, which makes trade very simple. If we can get the integration of those policies almost immediately, it really guarantees us sooner than we could expect. So my personal estimations would be really in the next 2 terms, meaning 10 years. So likely within that, dollar might lose its presence as coverage in the reserves.
But now I want us to look at foreign investors and the entire business world. They don't seem to be concerned by what currency takes over the other. They want certainty in the ability to trade smoothly. And now looking at the BRICS countries, it comprises of mostly developing economies. Can the alliance get investor confidence? Can they garner support even from other countries outside of the alliance?
Yeah, so I think the purpose of business is business, right? Even the Ethics Commission will tell you that the business of business is business. And the most important thing is to really increase the profit margins for shareholder investors. And if you look at the new criterion that brought new members to BRICS, it looks quite amazing. I wish I was in those rooms when the discussion was being had. But I think the strategic position really guarantees that economies are going to be really going to be smooth. I mean, the new introduction saw that the BRICS countries are now up by 3.1 trillion in terms of their global GDP, and we're sitting at about 30 trillion, where the rest of the world is about 28, and the G7 is about 40 trillion. So we are really getting close. The purpose of the business really is to make sure that it maintains business. We have Argentina, which is number 1 in terms of rice and wheat. Brazil is number 1 with rice, coffee. Ethiopia is also in coffee business, and these are almost ranked top 1% of biggest trades in the continent, or rather in the world. So it makes it very easy for business to remain as business as usual, as long as there's growth from a profit margins perspective.
And there's some recorded success in trade in local currencies as India's shipments of engineering goods to Russia has increased. The remarkable surge in Indian exports to Russia follows the establishment of a payment mechanism enabling trade settlements in the respective national currencies. The alternative payment mechanism came at a crucial time when Russia is facing exclusion from the SWIFT financial messaging system. The success story of India's engineering exports to Russia bears testament to the efficacy of alternative trade mechanisms and the growing prominence of local currencies in facilitating global commerce. And up next is your sports. And the Saudi Arabian women's national football team has lost their second Group A stage match to Lebanon in the West Asian Football Federation Women's Championship with a 2-3 result on Wednesday. This after the team lost their opener 3-1 on Monday to Jordan. The Green Falcons are due to face off against Guam today, but having lost their first two matches, even if they win today, they cannot proceed to the semi-finals.
Yeah, well, I think everyone should see and be there and to witness what is happening. You've been here, you see these national team players, they are very serious, they want to win the game, they want to improve, they want to get better. And someone who is not knowing what is happening here, I always recommend come here to Saudi, have a look, witness yourself what is happening and how to see these players, how they are passionate, how they want to play the game.
And Ben Rekotso joins me now to discuss this. Now the Green Falcons, for the first time, hosting a women's tournament. How do you measure their performance?
The performance in the field of play not that great. People expected a lot, of course, but 3-2 against Lebanon, that was their best result. Jordan, you can excuse them. Jordan is one of the best teams in terms of women's football. But the most important thing here, Inga, is for Saudi Arabia hosting. It's very important. Even for South Africa to host an Under-19 World Cup, it makes you, I don't know whether should I say it's a public relations exercise, but it works that way. And Saudi have shown us that they can do their best.
Right now they are going to be facing Guam. And where does that put them now in the tournament?
They're out of the tournament already because they've lost the first two matches. Against Guam is just formalities. But what will remain is that for the first time ever, Saudi Arabia hosted a women tournament, and a very successful one for that matter. And Inga, they've employed the head coach like Luis Cortez, former Barcelona and Ukraine coach. He's there. Monica Stab. You heard what some people might have heard what Monica Stab said about football in Saudi Arabia. Monica Stab actually, she invited people to say, you can't talk if you're not in Saudi Arabia. If you want to talk, pull in.
Right. Well, with experts like Monica Stab, we can hope that the Green Falcons will perform better next year. And that's it from all of us in studio. Thank you so much for joining us. We do hope that you join us again next week. But it's goodbye for now.